You've asked, and here it is. How the price on carbon pollution works in around 2 minutes. This is the critical decade for tackling climate change. The science tells us we must act now or face even greater risks of extreme weather in Australia, like more intense storms, bigger floods, and more severe bushfires. Putting a price on carbon pollution is the first step. Here's how it works in 5 simple points. It's like how we manage interest rates. We have an independent body, the Reserve Bank, to make decisions in the national interest rather than political interests. So, under the new plan, an independent group of experts will propose carbon reduction targets to Parliament. We'll stay in line with climate science and global action while growing our economy. The new carbon price will mean that 500 of Australia's biggest polluters finally pay for their harmful emissions. To start with, the price will be set at $23 per tonne of pollution, but in a few years' time, the price will be set by the market. Smart businesses will quickly find ways to pollute less so they pay less. Some businesses will try to pass the cost on to consumers, but now the cleaner their products, the more competitive they'll be. Half of the funds raised by the carbon price goes straight to households. In fact, 9 in 10 households will receive assistance, and people on lower incomes will receive a cash bonus on top of pension increases. The new plan invests about $13 billion to harness clean energy across Australia, from abundant resources like sunshine that lasts forever. And it creates good, clean energy jobs. Some money also goes to farmers to help manage their land in ways that cut carbon pollution. And there's funding for our environment, which will protect fragile native wildlife and ecosystems. And that's how the carbon price works in less than 2 minutes. All in all, it's a big step forward. Now, let's get on with it.
Economists agree that putting a price on carbon is the cheapest and most efficient way of making the transition to a low-carbon economy. It's actually a smaller adjustment than the introduction of the GST 11 years ago. I say yes because as an economist I believe that putting a price on carbon is the cheapest and most efficient way of transitioning to a low-carbon economy.
As a parent, my responsibility is for my children. Climate change is already having a harmful effect on our environment. For me, a carbon pollution price makes sense. It's about my children and the future of their planet.
The Earth's climate has already warmed by nearly a degree, and many of the impacts have been much greater than climate scientists have predicted. It's critical that we all act together to get strong climate legislation.
Working as an emergency service worker on the front line of extreme weather events, our resources, they're going to be pushed as these events increase in intensity and frequency over the coming years. And if we don't do anything about climate change, bushfire risk is going to increase dramatically. And that'll make my job, keeping people safe and secure, a whole lot tougher.
What we do know is that climate change has a very significant impact on human health, whether it's dengue fever, whether it's adverse weather events that actually kill people in floods and so forth. The World Health Organization suggests that over 100,000 people a year die from specific climate-related health issues. So that's why it is that we have to support a carbon price. It is time for us to take action now, and that is the right action.
We operate in many countries around the world and in many industries. In 32 of those countries there is a carbon price, including in New Zealand. In future, reducing carbon pollution will be a source of competitive advantage. So I say yes, because if there's one thing that Australia is good at, it's innovation.
We all have our own reasons. Add yours. SayYesAustralia.org.au.